Hey there, welcome to the Mental Perk Podcast. I'm Karla Hutcherson, licensed professional counselor.
And I'm Brandi Mock, entrepreneur, author, and community leader. And we're here to talk about
real people, real issues, and real talk.
Welcome back to Mental Perk and Happy New Year. We are so excited to have you guys
Happy
on
New
the
Year's,
show.
everybody.
It is going to be an awesome new year. Today we're talking about setting goals and
resolutions, the difference between the two. So, I hope you got to see our Christmas segment on, just all the stresses that come along with the holiday season. And we're going to start out with our new year really talking about the difference between goals and resolutions.
Yes.
So I am a firm believer in setting goals, and there's a lot of different reasons why. But I think the word that everyone associates with the new year is resolutions.
Resolution.
So, Brandi, what is a resolution to you?
I think a resolution to me would be like kicking an old habit, a bad habit that I had in the past and making it not an old habit anymore. So that would be a resolution.
I agree. And I'm thinking every time I hear about a New Year's resolution, I guess what doesn't resonate with me is that I feel like when people start a New Year's resolution, they don't always follow through.
I don't.
Right? They're pretty, it seems like they're short-lived. Like we're like all gung-ho at the beginning.
Yes.
We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And we really start the first month or two really being into it, but it fades off. And so I guess that's why I don't really set a lot of resolutions.
I don't because of I think a lot of our audience, you guys can relate to this, is I don't want to disappoint myself with that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to feel the pressure of it. I know what my capabilities are. It's a matter of, do I want it or do I not want it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes that tends to stress out people.
I think when the newness of the new year wears off, the resolution goes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm more of a goal-setting person, and there's a lot of reasons that I believe in goals. And some people would say, like, well, isn't a goal a resolution or vice versa? But I'm like, I think they're different. I think they are different.
Well, explain to us therapists how they are.
So a goal, I feel, drives us every day, and I feel like it's a mental health skill. So if we're really thinking about when we're really struggling with anxiety or depression or things to motivate us, I really believe in setting goals. And sometimes it doesn't have to be some magnificent thing that I'm going to do and I'm going to change the world kind of goal. It could be get me through the day goals.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? Because if I'm feeling depressed, I'm already less motivated. I already have a lack of interest. I'm already struggling with all of those things and keeping focus. So I would do 3 small goals I could accomplish in the day.
Well, and you bring that up, a very good point, because I've had some dark moments with depression, right? And I think sometimes, like you just said, the small little things, like it could be simply just getting out of bed, right?
That is a goal.
That's a goal.
Yeah.
You've met that goal. So if you've accomplished that goal, what's the next thing, right? Could be taking a shower. Could be,
eating some breakfast.
Something.
Yeah.
But just don't try to overwhelm yourself with it, especially if you're going through that little valley. You want to be able to not try to overwhelm yourself with what you've set.
Yes. And so again, when you're first starting to enter that phase of setting goals, you want your goals to be obtainable, right? You want to make sure that those 3 goals I set for the day, at the end of the day, I can check those off and I can go to bed knowing I had a successful day.
And I don't know about you, but whenever I do accomplish those things, I feel so much better. And it's a minor, like you said, it could be a minor goal you set.
Yes.
But you got it off your checklist.
Yes.
And it's like, man, I accomplished something. Yeah. It might not have been a lot, but it was something.
And I'm a real big believer because I feel like we can set these small little goals every day. And if you're not in the midst of an episode of depression or feeling really anxious, your goals are going to look different than they did if you're really trying to use it to get through those tough times, right? So I feel like those daily goals can be used on a range, right?
Sure.
So a spectrum, if you will. But basically we can set them as simple as we can when we're at our worst, or we can kind of make them a little bit bigger and more detailed when we're at our best.
And also too, though, when you said at our worst, sometimes maybe not setting a goal at your worst is when you need to set the goal.
Yes.
Maybe just have a moment of calmness, a moment of just being quiet.
Yes.
And then set the goal. I think the biggest thing with people that go through the funk, I call it the funk.
That's a good word for it.
It is a good word for it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Is not to feel like you're obligated to do it because you're so overwhelmed, right? When you're going through those moments, that I think you'd agree that, just get through that time.
Yes.
And then baby step right back into things. And don't get discouraged.
I agree. So let's say you set your 3 daily goals and you only accomplish 2 of them that day.
Better than none.
It's better than none. So you still got the ball rolling that day. You still accomplished something. It's still a success.
Right.
So that's a win-win. I feel like as you're learning the process of goal setting, like I said, it can be on a spectrum. So you can have, small goals that really get you through the tough times, but then keep that habit going. And if you build that habit, you're going to be doing that every day. Like every day, I at least have 3 goals on my list. And I don't always get through all my goals every day. And like I said, it's still a success if I get through half of them. So I really believe in goal setting because it keeps me moving forward. It keeps me taking those steps. And then goals you have short-term and long-term goals.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that we don't set long-term goals, but sometimes they're overwhelming when we are depressed or when we are anxious. If I'm thinking about, 3, 5, 10 years down the road, and I can't even balance today.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, that's like way out there.
Done. Yeah.
So, Brandi and I were talking about this before, and she just said she doesn't believe in goals or resolutions. And I was like, no, I believe you believe in goals. I did not believe her.
Maybe I don't call it that. I go into life with 0 expectations. That way I'm not disappointed. So I kind of look at an expectation and a goal kind of the same. Like,
I think those are different too.
They may be, but when I go into that, if I don't have them set, I'm not disappointed, so I don't have to worry about it. Does that make sense? And then if I supersede that, then hey, it's a win-win, right?
Yes, but I think how is that measurable?
I don't know.
Exactly. But what I would like to say, so I was trying to tell Brandi is whether she calls it a goal or not, if she has a plan for the day, she has a goal. Like if she goes to bed at night and she knows she has to accomplish some things the next day, she has goals. Because how do you accomplish them if you don't set them? See, it is a goal.
It's just a word.
It's not a word. It's a way of life. It's a way of life.
Okay.
Right? Because it helps us really stay focused and motivated and keeping us going one step in front of the other.
Right.
It helps us progress.
Right.
And so whether you call it that or not, you can call it expectation, goal, resolution, whatever is most comfortable for you or what works for you is really important. But know that even when you think you don't set them, you really do. Because if you have a plan for your day, you have goals.
Okay.
Like I need to accomplish this before the end of the day. There's a goal in there somewhere.
Okay.
Right? I've got to go to this meeting. That's a goal. Check it off your list.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a failure there.
No, I don't think so either. I think the biggest thing is to tell everybody is don't put too much pressure on yourself. I think New Year's resolutions.
That's a lot of pressure.
What's the number one thing you say for New Year's resolutions?
Lose weight.
Get in the gym.
Get in the gym. We're going to be in the gym.
I can't tell you how many funny memes I've seen where it shows the first day the gym is packed. And the second day, it's like crickets. There's no one in the gym because they're like,
Have you seen that Saturday Night Live little snippet? And it's from, I don't know if it's from the 90s or 2000s or whatever, but it has the lady, and I can't remember her name right now. She's all dressed in red, and she's like, talking about being fit. And she's like, I can kick, stretch, kick, because I'm 50. And it just
I have not seen that, but I think you just created something, Karla.
But it just cracks me up every time I see it.
I can kick, I can stretch,
kick, because I'm 50. But it's so funny because it's so true. And every time, like, I'm in the gym after the first of the year, and the gym is
that in your head?
crowded.
I can kick, I can stretch, because I'm 50.
50.
I can't say that.
She will be soon. She'll be catching up with me.
Yeah.
But regardless, every time at the first of the year, everybody's so dedicated, and the gym is full. You can't even get on the equipment. It's just
that'll keep someone from going back to gym.
I
right?
know, exactly. But by mid-February, you're like crickets.
Yeah. It's like I can get any piece of equipment I want, right?
But it's so funny. But that's what I think of with resolutions, because you know what? Every time I have said that, I have been that person. I've been the one to let it just roll off, and I don't even see that resolution anymore.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. That's just it. If you don't put it so hard on yourself, like I think there's so many people, and then it's a spiral effect.
Yeah.
Like if you don't meet certain those goals, because, there are a lot of people that are so self-motivated and driven that they're their biggest critic. And I think we all are, right? But they really are. They're the ones that would study for hours on end, and if they got a 98 on a test, it wasn't good enough. Right. There are people out there like that.
Yeah, 100%.
And so
that's a lot of stress.
That's a lot of stress. So know your level of what you're capable of doing, and if you don't feel like you can do it, it's all right.
And I think that's why I go back to the goals, because when I've set resolutions, I need to lose 10 pounds. I need to be in the gym 3 times a week, or whatever that is. That's when I see the fall off in about February. If I set goals, daily goals, and I can just really focus on accomplishing those every day, over time I build a habit.
Right. I know, for sure. Yeah.
And that's where I went from not being in the gym, and now I go 7 days a week.
Yeah, you're
obsessed. I'm obsessed, but it's like that is that's my yeah. But it's what gets me going every day. But I'm telling you, getting up at 4:30 or 5 took me a while to build that habit.
Yeah.
But I made it my daily goals. Like, I didn't think about it over long term. I thought of it, if I can just get up tomorrow. And so as I did that for a period of time, it became a habit, and now I can't not get up.
Well, here's what I've done, which I love that you brought that up, because if you're like me, I don't sleep very good at night. And so I never know what the next day is going to bring me. So I find that if I set goals, I mean, you can set the goals, but like I've learned not to be so hard on myself if I don't get in, like let's say I didn't sleep last night and I got maybe 2 hours of sleep and I'm just tanking the next day. And I know I got to get a workout in. I've learned to go, okay, Brandi, if you don't work out today, it's not the end of the world. Because your body, if you got to listen to your body. If your body is saying, I'm exhausted, you need to give your body rest.
And if you wake up, you don't feel good. You can't hold yourself accountable for that, but you can. That's why those small daily goals are good, because if it doesn't work out that day, it can go on to the next day. It can roll on over. And until you can just keep rolling it in there. Yes, every day's a reset. And so there's nothing wrong with resets. That's why they have the reset button. What is that button? Staples button, the red one? Yeah, you push it. There's okay with resets. We all reset.
I wish I could reset Karla all the time.
She does love me, crowd. You know she does. 100%.
We do love each other.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Yes.
So there's that goal. Let's say, because that's the first thing I think of. Everybody kind of wants to get into the gym.
Yeah.
They want to. But let's say, what's your, like, I know that you and I this year are working on a lot of stuff with Mental Perk.
A lot of stuff. We've got so many goals.
So many things in the pipeline.
Yes.
And I'll be honest with you, this last week, I'd say the last 2 weeks, things have just kind of rolled in.
They are
It's a little overwhelming.
It is.
So you have to just sit down and it's okay to say no, but strategically sit down like Karla and I have been doing and go through a calendar, go through a list of your, I think, needs versus wants. Mm-hmm. What is your need versus your want?
Small goals, long-term goals.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So that's so important. And I just bought 2 new planners because I know I'll use both of them. But they're both for 2025. But regardless, they just have different looks, and I have to make it all work. But
OCD much?
OCD isn't always a bad thing.
No, I'm OCD when it comes to my house, for sure.
So it's just so funny. But yeah, so we're already planning strategically. And every day I'm writing down my 3 small goals. I tell my patients that all the time. And I'm doing the same thing. I try to practice what I preach in that situation because I know it works. It works. And so even when we're starting to feel overwhelmed, we get lost, and we're like, Brandi and I are at different meetings, and she's like, oh, I talked to this person. I say, I talked to this person. We start just going. And
it's like, poof.
We do. And then I'm like, what did we just say? And I'm like, if I don't write that down and I don't set it up, we're going to lose out on an opportunity.
Right now because we've had so many neat opportunities come before us the last couple weeks. Just phenomenal people that have crossed our paths, and phenomenal opportunities that are going to come to us in 2025. And it gets a little overwhelming because this is the beginning of us.
This is.
So I can't imagine what 2025 is going to bring to us and how we're going to navigate through it.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are scared of new things
Sure.
or trying new things, but I really want you guys I want to encourage all of you to try new things. Don't be scared of it, because failure is not necessarily a bad thing. So many things come from failure.
Yes.
When Brandi and I first started Mental Perk, we were failing right and left. We did not know what we were doing, and we were just getting like discouraged. Do you remember that?
Yeah, discouraged, frustrated. But neither one of us came from this field, right? So
don't know anything
we know
about
how to
it.
run companies. We know how to do something. But it's like anything else. When you're doing something for the first time,
it's scary.
It's scary. You just kind of go with it. You learn, don't be afraid to make the mistakes.
Mistakes are good.
Like
Failures are good. That's where big ideas happen.
Yeah.
That's where big things happen.
Yeah.
And so try things, even if it's like going to the gym and you fail at that, keep trying, or try something else, or do a different route. If it's not the gym, go to an exercise class, do kickboxing. Find what works for you. If that's important to you, do it. Find a way to make it work, and don't be scared of failure.
Well, and I think that this goes across everybody's lives. So that means for you and your spouse, if you have a goal set, or if you guys feel like you're kind of disconnecting and you didn't have as much time with each other the year prior, put it in your planner or your calendar, your phone, date night.
Make it a priority. Yeah.
Make it a priority. Make it a priority to get a break from your children. Make it a priority. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay but start making those plans, thinking about those now. This is what I didn't get to do last year, and I got really disappointed, or you just exhausted, you're burnout, and say, I am going to do this in 2025, even if it's quarterly.
Yeah. And so let's kind of put some structure to what we're talking about so that we can really make it simple. So number one, goals are important. If you want to call it a resolution, more power to you. If it doesn't work for me, it works for you, that's great. Call it a goal or resolution. But I want you to really think about, what is it that I want to accomplish in 2025?
Yep.
Okay. And narrow it down to like 2 or 3 things. Don't go haywire. Like I want to improve my relationship with my spouse. I want to do something with my kids, whatever that is. Or I want to grow my business, or I want to build on getting to the next level at work. Whatever it is that you want to do, or maybe I want to be more fit, whatever that is. But find 2 or 3 things that you really want to focus on in 2025. And then put those down, and then go back to your daily goals and try to come up with 3 daily goals that can hit one of those 2 or 3 big goals, right? So that you're building on it. And what will be super neat is when you go back at the end of 2025 and you look back at your planner and you saw all those daily goals that you put in, and you saw those check marks.
Yeah. That's a good
my
feeling.
gosh. That's going to be call for celebration. That's going to be like popping that champagne bottle. I promise you. And it's going to be
martini.
Yes, that would be the case here. But I'm just saying, you're going to see all those check marks, and whether you got through all 3 of your check marks that day, it's still going to all add up, and it's going to build on top of each other. So find those 2 or 3 things that you want to look at for 2025, and then go back and start using your daily goals to take those steps towards it. Maybe you do Monday for goal 1, Tuesday for goal 2, Wednesday for goal 3.
So you're not doing 3 in one day.
Yes,
Great
exactly.
idea.
So just try to manage it. Find a system that works for you, but most of all, build a system and use the goals to build those behaviors and those actions and help you stay focused and help you stay motivated, most of all.
So, question, therapist.
Yes.
So when you're talking about that, so what do you tell people that have like, ADD? Sometimes that's a hard thing, because I know, like, I'm all over the place sometimes. I'm certain I've got something. I just don't know what it is. It's not formally.
She does have something, crowd. I guarantee you. But, I've learned not to diagnose those closest to me. So we'll get her in with somebody else.
Anyway. But you know how that can get overwhelming to people, right?
Well,
so how do you walk patients through that?
What we're talking about today is not only good for mood disorders, it's great for ADHD. Okay. And that when I'm working with patients who have ADHD, this is something we talk about. You must have a planner. You must have a plan. You have to set goals. You have to have time limits. You have to do things in segments. Mm-hmm. So one of the main things about ADHD is you have to find a system of, organization in your life, and you have to follow that. And so you can't just fly by the seat of your pants. Like what Brandi's saying is, I don't really set goals. She does have them, but she kind of flies through them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I fly by the seat of my pants all the time.
But when you're really struggling with ADHD, that's not the best way to do it.
Yeah, well.
So that's where you have to really be more organized, and you'll see how beneficial it is to helping you achieve that motivation and concentration and all the things that go along with that, because it can get really overwhelming when you're struggling with something like ADHD, where your brain just works differently than everybody else's. Not everybody else. There's a lot of people with ADHD, so you have a lot of people in the same boat you are in, but it's just like your brain just functions differently than someone who doesn't have ADHD. So it doesn't mean it's bad or terrible. It just means it's different, and that's okay. So you have to think about, I have to stay organized. I have to set these goals. I have to use my planner. I have to write things down. I have to make checklists. I have to make a grocery list when I go to the store. I make a food plan for the week and things like that.
Well, and I think the one thing too, though, and I think this is so important to everybody to hear this, is that let's say you get into this new habit of setting goals and stuff, and let's say something happens that's traumatic. Something happens in the family, the dynamics changed, and it kind of throws you off. Be open to knowing that it's okay to be still for a little bit, jump back in when you can, because life happens and life's going to change things, and you're not always going to be able to meet those marks. But if you can just be still and do a reset, I would say do a reset.
I love resets.
Reset, and it's not bad. Resets are good.
And goals aren't legally binding contracts. You're not legally obligated. You're not legally obligated to do them. I mean, things are going to happen. And the neat thing about goals is they can be reset. They can be reworked. They can be restated.
And don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
That's just the biggest thing right there. And then, because I know whenever I don't meet a goal, it shuts me down sometimes.
Yeah. And that's why we're starting with the little goals, because it's okay. We can redo this. We can refocus. If you set your goals and you don't see it going in the right direction, or you're not feeling like you're accomplishing, it just means that maybe we need to try a different route.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to go a different path, and that's okay. So that's what's neat about goals, is they're really adjustable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So we hope that this conversation has kind of helped you look at 2025 and start to think about what you want to accomplish, what that looks like for you. What is the difference between a goal and a resolution? And how do I really want to make that work in my life? And then start looking at setting those little baby goals so that you can see that big accomplishment at the end of 2025 and know that all your efforts paid off.
So I guess she's right. I do have a lot of things in the pipelines in 2025.
Yes, she has goals.
I have goals. But I'm really going to focus this year on me. What about you?
Yeah, I do a lot of self-care. I do like some self-care. But I do really feel like that's super important in keeping me balanced, because I'm super, super busy. But I'm really excited about the direction we're going in Mental Perk, and the lives that we're touching and the lives that are touching us.
Yes.
And that, to me, I'm so excited about that in 2025. And I am going to, and through that, I am still focusing on me.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going to continue that pathway. A lot of 2024 was about redeveloping me.
Yeah.
And I think that was a success. Even though I had a few failures in there, I also had a lot of successes.
Yeah,
So.
You take the good and forget the bad. That's how I feel, right?
Yes,
because the bad's not going to change.
I agree.
Good's only going to get better.
Absolutely. So we want to wish you the happiest of New Year's, celebrating with your family. We hope you had an amazing New Year. We look forward to hearing from all of you what you're accomplishing in 2025. Reach out to us. Talk to us about your goals. Talk to us about your successes, your failures. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
You can reach out to us. We have a new website that's being launched, and it's at mentalperk.org, right? And also, we want you to know that through the holidays, we're taking a little break.
Yes.
We will be back with new shows for you starting the week of January the 20th.
Yes.
So we can't wait for you to see what we have coming up. We have some great guests. We wish you the happiest of New Year's.
And you're worthy. We're in this together.
If you or anyone you know is struggling with mental health issues, please reach out to talk to someone you trust. Get connected to a mental health professional who can help you find ways to cope and ultimately feel better. If you are having suicidal or self-harm thoughts or thoughts of hurting another person, please go to the nearest ER, call 911, or contact the National Suicide Hotline at 988. Thank you for tuning in to Mental Perk. We hope our talk today highlighted real people working through real issues based on mental health. Our goal at Mental Perk is to make sure every one of you knows you're worthy. We're in this together.